So when you first reached out to us, you mentioned that you had watched our Return of the King movie and book review, and you had mentioned that we had missed Peter Jackson's greatest bungle in the movie. So, or making the movie. So we've been dying to know what is this greatest bungle that he made with the movie.
And this is my opinion. So.
Yeah.
I mean, there was when the movies were coming out, there was probably nobody more excited than I was at the time. It's been something I've been waiting for many, many years to see, and we went through years of internet rumors, and most popular one being Sean Connery's going to be Gandalf. And so that was, it went on and on. And when it finally happened, went to the midnight showing of Fellowship of the Ring and everything, and I loved it. The first movie was almost perfect. I mean, especially once the extended edition came out and added more, and it was just great.
Yes.
And the Two Towers came out, and not quite as great.
Okay.
I understand changes for movie making and so on, and I didn't like the changes he made to Aragorn's character, but I kind of understood why he did that. I really did not like the changes he made to Faramir. But even then, it was like, okay, the third movie's coming. There are two moments. If he gets those two moments right, then I'll forgive anything. And one of them is the cracks of doom. And so a friend of mine who was a movie reviewer at the time got to see an early screening, and I told him, all I want to know, don't tell me any spoilers, anything, just did he get those two moments? And he told me, well, the cracks of doom is different than the book, but it's still good. It works.
Right.
The other one is not really in the movie.
Okay.
Like, what? It's not in the movie? How can that even be possible? And it kind of wasn't. And then in the extended edition, it came back sort of, but even then not really. And that was the scene at the gates of Minas Tirith. I've read The Lord of the Rings, I don't know how many times, maybe 25, 30, something like that. And I've read it out loud 5 times to other people. My brother, my wife, and 3 kids. And any time I read it, when I get to that scene at the gates of Minas Tirith, I choke up.
Mm-hmm.
Because the way it's written is just so powerful. It's such an incredible moment. And in the theatrical version, Jackson left it out completely. It's just Gandalf tells them, whatever comes through the gate, be ready. And it's a bunch of trolls in armor that charge through.
Yeah, I remember that.
Yeah.
What's that? It's so dramatic and so beautiful and perfect right there, and he leaves it out. Because in the book, you have Grond, the battering ram, which I think they did fantastic in the movie. It looked great.
I agree too. Yeah, it was sick.
Yeah, it looked spectacular, and it burst through the gates. But in the book, what happens next is the Lord of the Nazgul comes in on a horse, not on his spell beast.
Right.
And I think that's one of the things that Jackson didn't want to do, was have him switch mounts.
Yeah.
He comes in on a horse, and everybody runs away because of his presence, his power, which was intentional, that he was supposed to be this so overwhelmingly powerful being, except for Gandalf sitting there on Shadowfax. And like I said, I can't read it to you because then I would choke up there. It's so dramatic. Gandalf confronts him, and the Nazgul Lord is telling him, you failed, this is the end, you're going to die now. And right at that moment, there's a rooster crow. the way it's written is just so beautiful. I mean, it's dead silence, and then there's a rooster crowing. It's like, because dawn has come. And then the horns of Rohan sound in return. It's like Rohan had come at last. It's like the absolute turning point of everything, you know. And, you know, in the extended edition, he did have a confrontation between the Lord of Nazgul and Gandalf.
Yeah.
One of the towers, because it's more dramatic, I guess.
Yeah.
It's a fiery sword, too.
This is my hour. Yeah.
He left out the rooster, you know, which to me is the most dramatic moment in the entire thing. And it's intended to be, you know, and Tolkien talked about it a lot. This concept, and this has to do with some of the other questions we've talked about, the eucatastrophe, the word catastrophe with EU in front of it, the sudden joyous turn, you know, where in a story where everything seems lost, where all hope is gone, and then one thing happens, and you realize, whoa, this is fantastic, something great is happening, you know. And he wrote that scene, and when you, I don't know if you've ever looked at the stuff that Christopher Tolkien published, you know, all the stuff that showed how he was writing. To me, it's incredible to go through and look at the process that Tolkien went through. He rewrote that scene over and over and over, and just to get it right. Because to him, that was the turning point of everything. You know, when all hope was completely lost. And then the rooster crows, and it's like, what is that? What's the point of that? And okay, so dawn is coming, big deal. And then there's the horns. And to me, it's such a dramatic and beautiful moment, and it just annoyed the snot at me that it wasn't in the movies.
Yeah. So I'm so glad that this came up, because I thought at first, Tim, you were going to say the scouring of the Shire, and I would have had to have disagreed thoroughly, because I'm like, it just cinematically just does not does not work.
It's pulled off, yeah.
Yeah. But I agree, and I know what you mean, because I'm going back now in my mind, like as you were telling this, and I was getting like hair standing up, as I recalled, it's that exact imagery, right? It's the evil being on the dark evil horse, and then Gandalf on Shadowfax, and it's like, you know, light and darkness, and then you have the rooster crows, and that's like almost reminiscent of the Shire, or like that homely feeling, right? It's the farm, it's the pastoral existence of the peoples of Middle Earth, you know.
It's what they're fighting for, as Sam says in his little monologue.
Yeah, and the more you go into it, you know, I could spend more time talking about it, but the more you go into it, there is a lot more there based on Tolkien's specific word choices that he uses there. And
for sure.
You know, there's a lot of, I mean, there's callbacks to things like some things from the King James Version of the Bible, and I mean, all kinds of stuff just woven in through there.
Yeah.
And that the way that he wrote it, it's just amazing.
Yeah, that's incredible. It was really profound when you were speaking about the scene, as Morgan said, hairs on our arms were standing up.
Yeah.
But, you know, it makes me realize that I haven't read Tolkien in a long time, just because I haven't been able to read for pleasure for quite a while, as I'm doing an English master's degree.
Master's student.
Ironically. Don't have time to read. But it just reminds me that the little things in the stories are really what matters, and that's what authors put a lot of time into. It's not necessarily the big scenes. Obviously those take a lot of time and thinking as well, but it's those, like, the pieces of symbolism and you know, showing the words and the dialogue and the meaning and the themes through these little moments is really what strikes at people. Like the rooster representing domesticity and home and what they're fighting for, truly. That's such a beautiful point, and now I just want to go back and read it because I know there's so many things that as a young person reading Tolkien, a lot of my view of Middle Earth is colored by Peter Jackson's movie, because that's what I've grown up with.
Yeah.
I understand that there's such a big generational difference in the fans of Tolkien because of, you know, people like our age will have grown up with it and they think the world of the movies. And then people who are much older who had more time with the books are, you know, they have time to sit with those details and really understand what those mean. And I think that's quite meaningful to kind of get back to. I just want to go and read now.
Check out the description of this video and you can see the different platforms we put our content on, as well as our social media links. Thanks again and see you next time.